There's a good look at these rocket ship with wheels tonight in front of a good crowd at Tri-County Speedway. 99 laps, and we're all focused in on the championship battle. 4 drivers still in the playoffs. 1 will get eliminated here tonight. It looks like it'll be a battle between 2 drivers. Paulie Hartwig in the number 73, who starts 3rd. And then the 99 car of Jake Crum, who's 4th in points. Jake Crum, not with a great qualifying effort here tonight. He will start 15th. And for Jake Crum to get an advance into the playoffs, not counting bonus points whatsoever, he has to finish 11 spots ahead of Paulie Hartwig. With a large field that we have here tonight, it could certainly happen, but Jake has got a long way to go to catch that orange number 73 machine. There we see the 14-year-old, Paulie Hartwig, his dad, making sure he is ready for battle here tonight. Hartwig took the Smart Modified Tour World by storm this year at just 14 years old, winning at Hickory Motor Speedway and now challenging for a championship, as well as being a competitor for the Racing Electronics Rookie of the Year honors. But Paul and Paulie, his entire family, they have fought hard. The kid is talented way beyond his years. And where he goes from here, who knows? But he's got the opportunity to shine here in the final 2 races of the season. Hartwig. There is Ryan Newman. Newman 2nd in points coming into this one. The defending race winner at Tri-County with the Smart Modifieds. Newman, those 3 wins propel him to 2nd in the point standings. Newman came so close 1 year ago, was right in the championship mix in that final race and did not get the job done. But the driver that did get the job done starts alongside of him here today at Tri-County Speedway. Right on the inside of the number 2 sits Luke Baldwin in the 7VA. We have a note that the track wants us to notify everybody out there. We do have a missing 3-year-old who is at the bottom of our tower. His name is AJ, and if you are associated with AJ, 3 years old, please come to the bottom of the tower. Jake Crum in that Mount Airy Toyota, number 99, 4th in points. You can see Justin Mincy there giving the thumbs up for the drivers around his portion of the starting lineup as we're getting set to fire engines momentarily. Jake Crum has still yet to win a Smart Modified Tour race, but he is hungry, and if there's a track that he can get it done, it would be here at Tri-County Speedway, where he has a lot of experience in a late model stock car. Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stand up. We want you to help us with the command to fire engines here today. We're told we're just on pause. Just a second, we're going to go. So I'm going to count down from 3. And when I say go, you're going to help me out with the drivers start your engines. In 3, 2, 1, go. Drivers, start your engines. The roar of 600 horsepower times 28 come to life today in Granite Falls, North Carolina. We're in the foothills of North Carolina for the penultimate Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic race of the year. 4 drivers still vying for a chance at the championship. 1 will be eliminated here tonight. We are excited as Caden Lapsevich in the number 39 will lead the field to the green flag. Hello, everybody. I am Bob Dillner. Alongside of me is Will Battershell, Paulie Hartwig, Jake Crum, Luke Baldwin, and Ryan Newman right there in the title hunt still.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting, Bob, because you see Hartwig starting so far up in the field, and he has to have a good race with Jake Crum kind of nipping at his heels a little bit. So it's going to be a really interesting race to see if Jake Crum can work his way up to catch Hartwig.
So we're going to keep an eye on that championship battle. The Pace-O-Matic Pole Award won by the Citrasafe Grill Cleaners #1 of Burt Myers. We also have a pit reporter, Derek Pernasiglio, with us. Derek, what are your thoughts going into this one?
Well, thoughts going into this race is that this race could go in either direction. We could have a caution-filled race, or it can have a long green flag run. We've seen that happen before here at Tri-County Motor Speedway. Last year's race, the first half of it was plagued with cautions. Then once everybody got settled in, they got into a long green flag run. So long that they didn't even take that choose tire that they were allowed to. So after talking with some other drivers here tonight, they think the first half of this field, they're gonna thin some cars out, and then they'll be able to go start racing.
Well, Derek, this is unlike any other Smart Modified Tour event we've seen here. The record had been 26 cars prior to this event, a strong field of 28. And I know that Derek is going to be working pit road. Remember, one tire at the disposal for all of these teams to take whenever they want throughout this race. But TP, I think we talked about this earlier on here today about what groove was going to be the right groove for a lot of these drivers here today at Tri-County, because you can run 3 wide here at Tri-County. Caden Lapsevich in the 39 car, making his second start with the Smart Modified Tour. He actually started in a similar spot on the point, leading the field to the green flag at Caraway Speedway this summer. Finished 14th in that race. Told me, I'm going to try to do a little bit better here today. But Lapsevich, talented race car driver, former NASCAR Canada Series champion, and today behind the wheel of a modified. To his outside, Bryce Bailey. He's been like traveling from team to team with a helmet and a fire suit all year long. This is the 3rd car that he's been in a part-time basis this year with the Smart Modified Tour.
Yeah, it is a little bit of an interesting situation, but with every car he's been in so far, Bob, he's been really fast, and he proves it again with getting into the redraw and now starting on the front row for tonight's race. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do now with his 3rd team and how they can work together.
I have my eyes on row number 2 on the outside. Not that Danny Bone has any success here. He's only started 2 different races here at this track, but Danny Bone has been red hot in that number 25 car. He's been the most electric driver in the second part of this year. He's got those 2 victories. Danny Bone is somebody that you have to watch here tonight because he's got 8 starts so far this year on the tour. Okay, that's not all of them, but he's got 6 top 5 finishes with those 2 wins. If he ran full-time, he'd be right in that championship equation.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned that he missed the first half of the season, so you really wonder if maybe those 2 wins could have been 4 or 5 with how dominant he's been since he's came back.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's about time we get things rolling here at Tri-County Speedway. We need everybody to get out of your seat and salute these drivers, some of the best modified drivers in America right now. Ladies and gentlemen, coming off of turn number 4, wave your phones, wave your hands, wave whatever you have to salute these drivers who are going to brave this racetrack here tonight. Folks, this is our salute to open wheels, to chrome horns, and 600 horsepower. The ground pounders, the mod squad, this is the Smart Modified Tour. By the way, we just have to note that Tri-County Speedway probably has the best hamburgers at a racetrack in the state of North Carolina, but they cook so many burgers, and we had this during the ZMAX Cars Tour broadcast last week on Flow Racing, because there's so much, smoke coming out of that vent that sometimes you'll think a car is smoking on the racetrack. It's not. It's because they're selling so many burgers here at Tri-County. So if you see that here tonight, that's probably what you're seeing on our Flow Racing cameras. It's the calm before the storm. Tonight, we pay tribute to Gary Freeman and all that he and his family have done with the Hoosier brand in the Southeast. Caden Lapcevich and Bryce Bailey on the front row for this one. It's time to pay dirt. Tonight, we will eliminate one from championship competition, but it's the Freeman Hoosier 99 at Tri-County, and we are green. Wow. Drivers all sorts of out of shape here. Tommy Buzzy and Brody Jones on the front stretch here up against the inside retaining wall, and that was all started by the outside groove. Caden Lapcevich and Bryce Bailey had some trouble with the start there, and because of that, a lot of drivers behind that kind of got bottlenecked. And there you see the Brody Jones 92 car making his first start with the Smart Modified Tour this year. Former winner in NASCAR Modified competition at the Madhouse of Bowman Gray Stadium. Unfortunate for him, he puts his window net down, and I'm sure Brody just a little bit frustrated behind the wheel.
Yeah, and Bob, what I saw when they were coming out of 4, you saw Braley almost spin his tires of sort, and then it was all over for everybody behind them. And we saw it was a great shot at the start-finish line. Some of these cars have a lot of damage from running into the back of the car as it was a chain reaction all the way down the field.
Yeah, we're going to see a complete restart on this one. So if drivers lost a position or two on that melee, they will get that position back. We're going to take a look at the replay of what exactly occurred. You heard Will talk about that, but it started with that front row with Bryce Bailey on the outside. Here's what happened in this incident. Watch Bailey on the outside. Actually, Lapcevich comes up and taps him, and then Bailey has to back up a little bit, and everybody just kind of locked up. The unfortunate victim of this, the 92 car of Brody Jones. Here's the drone look, and there you see the contact, and then Danny Bone was lucky to come out unscathed from that. Tommy Buzzy going down the racetrack and making contact with Brody Jones as he was trying to avoid that number 5 machine.
Yeah, that's an interesting restart because it looked like both Lapcevich and also Bailey, they just kind of ran into each other. Lapcevich thought he was going to be up a little more and have a little more room, and they just kind of collided, and that's what really caused it.
Derek is down on the scene. Let's get an update. Derek?
Yeah, I was standing right at the start-finish line when Caden Lapcevich got on the throttle, and it looked like one of those situations where he just jumped on the throttle a little too hard, spun the tires, the car stepped out, backpedaled it a little bit, started to roll back into it, and that's when the tires broke loose again. So it was that little bit of a fishtail down the front straightaway that made that contact with Bryce Bailey.
Yeah, right front damage right there. And there's some damage on the 15 machine of Carson Lofton, who has had a heck of a day. You see that bumper kind of just pushed up. As long as he doesn't connect with anybody, he'll be okay. Carson Lofton, a very fast race car, actually set the quickest time during Pace-O-Matic Pole Award qualifying here today. But earlier today, he was at North Wilkesboro Speedway practicing his late model stock car for next week's finale with the Z-Max Cars Tour. Well, he arrived here late, got a few warm-up laps, but by virtue of missing his spot in the qualifying order, his fast time was disallowed. Well, his second time was still good enough to give him second place effort in qualifying. So we'll keep an eye on Carson Lofton. There you see Danny Bone, and he got knocked into in the back. And I think that was the damage, actually, that you see Carson Lofton with that bumper pushed up right into the back bumper of the 25 of Danny Bone. Bone had to check up after Lapcevich kind of slid high and hit Bryce Bailey on that front row. Bailey slowed down, and then Bone tried to do all that he could to avoid it, but when he did and checked up, that's where the 15 of Carson Lofton got into him.
And Bob, I'm pretty sure you can go down this whole outside lane and you'll see cars with either damage on the front or the back of the car because everybody just kind of smushed together like a sandwich, and then they finally were able to break free after the car started separating.
So you see the damage on the 25. Watch us see the blue car in the second row has to slow up, and he got wrapped in the back by the red and white 15 of Carson Lofton. So that's where the damage came from. And then the 12 of Cody Norman maybe with a little damage as well. He and Buzzy got together before the 5 of Buzzy and the 92 of Brody Jones collected each other on the inside of the front stretch. Complete restart. We're coming back to the green. Lapcevich will give it a go again. Bailey on the outside. We live by the grace of God and 600 horsepower with the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. We are green. Watch Bailey with the momentum on the outside. Strong race car with that Paul French machine, but Lapcevich knows how to manipulate that throttle. Still on the inside. Bone trying to get to the outside. We got a car way up the racetrack. It was Jimmy Wallace in turn number 4. Bryce Bailey to the lead early on here during the Freeman Hoosier 99.
Yeah, and Bob, it's going to be interesting to see which lane prevails early on. And there's a little bit of smoke coming out of that 24 car off that rear tire, it looks like.
It almost looks like the body on that 25 rubbing a little bit against that right rear tire. We'll definitely keep an eye on that as Bone moves into the second spot. Lapcevich falling back. There's that smoke. Maybe with the shot to the back, it pushed either the Nerf bar or maybe a body panel against that right rear tire after that shot from Lofton, who's on the outside of Lapcevich battling for third.
And if you're Bone here, you got to worry about that tire possibly going down. That's the sheet metal rubbing on it, because it could be a matter of time. This is a fast track, so there's going to be a lot of load on that rear tire.
Derek talked about the grooves here. We're seeing 2 different, distinctively different grooves right now. Maybe 3. You see Lapcevich way on the bottom. You see Lofton trying to go to the inside groove. There they are, 3 wide for a second. Lofton gets by Lapcevich. Now on the inside of Danny Bone is the 15 for the second spot.
And it's going to be really interesting to see with these grooves, because it's a really wide racetrack. So these drivers are going to be able to attack the track differently and kind of set up their moves each lap.
And remember, Carson Lofton ran the Z-Max late model stock car for the Cars Tour race here last week. And right now, that knowledge certainly coming to life. Carson Lofton going after the lead, and he's got it with that Shady Grady Racing number 15. He gets by Bryce Bailey in the 12.
And with that front end damage, the best place to be is the front, because you don't got to worry about running into something. That's great for Lofton. And we've kind of seen him use both the top and bottom so far this race.
Very good point indeed. We're watching some battles a little bit further back in the field. Ryan Newman, one of our championship competitors, in that blue and orange number 2. Newman right now sitting in the 8th spot. We'll keep an eye on him. He won here last year in the springtime at Tri-County. And there's Luke Baldwin. Baldwin in a gaggle of race cars right now. Fortunately for him, they're all PSR machines. His teammate, Jonathan Cash, in the 16 out in front of him. A PSR house car with Carter McMurray in that black number 40. And the 77 of Will Lambros. Nice to see Will back here. Will's going to make it 3 wide. Oh my, going into turn number 3. Baldwin on the outside, already clinched a spot in the championship race next week. But Lambros is an experienced road racer. Has run the 24 Hours of Daytona, has run an IMSA last week, or 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, at Dominion on the road course, finished second in the Legends Road Course Nationals.
Yeah, and this is a great shot, Bob, because it's really showing how wide this racetrack can be. Because you have Huffman in the back running the bottom, you have the 2 guys running the middle, and the 2 guys running the top. So they're all over the place right now on the racetrack.
And this is a battle right around that 10th spot. And Lambros making his first start on the Smart Tour this year. Braun, a little bullying up the racetrack for him on the number 40 of Carter McMurray. McMurray keeps it, going in the right direction. And then there's Landon Huffman. Huffman in the 98, local kid with the Cars Tour, 4th in points in the late model stock cars, hoping for a good run here today. Bone and Myers battling. Bone losing some spots. Is that right rear and that smoke that we saw, is he trying to nurse that around the racetrack right now to make sure that problem doesn't even get worse?
Yeah, and one guy I'm really looking at as Bone falls back is Burt Myers, who qualified first and now got unfortunate on the redraw and has worked his way back up and into that 4th position. And he has a really fast race car, so it's going to be interesting to see what he has for the 3 in front of him.
And Carson Lofton leads, but behind Burt Myers, a good battle there from 5th on back. Caden Lapcevich in the black 39. Joey Coulter is there, and Danny Bone falling back a little bit. On the initial attempt at the restart, he got a hard shot when somebody in front of him slowed by Carson Lofton. And it might have caused some damage to either push the right rear Nerf bar or maybe some of the body up against the tire, because that number 25, we've seen a lot of smoke come from the right rear. It's going away now. and that's why maybe we're seeing Danny Bone go back on the challenge.
Yeah, we saw Coulter there try to make it 3 wide on the top and just got pinched out and decided better to back out this early in the race.
By the way, Joey Coulter was in the original Championship 5, eliminated for the most recent race at Franklin County Speedway. He's in the gray 02, but Coulter right now running in the 7th spot. He wants to get back to victory lane. That's his purpose in the final 2 races. It's been a long time, over 30 races since Joey Coulter won here in the Smart Mods. Danny Bone feeling out that inside groove. 12 degrees of banking here at Tri-County Speedway. They repaved this place a couple of years ago. Melissa Fifield in the 01 going a lap down. Tight quartered racing right there. Wow. 3 wide, including that slow car of Fifield. But Burt Myers still on the outside of Danny Bone for the 4th spot. Can Danny Bone clear him? He does off of turn number 2.
And just like you were saying, it really does look like Bone sat there and waited a little bit to make sure that that tire was going to be okay. And now that they don't see the smoke anymore, he can start crawling his way back up towards the front.
So Lofton over Bailey. Hartwig in that orange 73. 4th is Danny Bone. Burt Myers in the 5th spot. You see Coulter trying to get to the inside of Burt Myers' battle just outside the top 5. And then it sits Ryan Newman, one of the championship competitors, in the 8th spot. Luke Baldwin, by the way, back in 10th. He leads the points coming into this race. So Paulie Hartwig, 3rd right now. That's where he wants to be because he needs to be within reason of the 99 car of Jake Crum. And Jake Crum not having a good showing so far. There he is in that 99 car, being scored in 18th, battling with Max Hanley. Crum now going to drop back to 19th, so things not going the way Jake Crum wanted at this stage of the game, with still 73 laps to go.
Yeah, the good thing is we have the guaranteed caution at the end of stage 1, and then on top of that, there's still a lot of racing to go with after that break, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of adjustments Crum makes now that we're falling into nighttime.
We're just about 2 laps to go this next time by before the conclusion of Bell Helmet stage number 1. Will Jake Crum play the strategy game? Will he come in early, take that tire, and then stay out for track position because it's not going Jake Crum's way? It wasn't going the 15's way. Carson Lofton at the beginning of this race with that bump, that front horn just stuck up in the air, for Carson Lofton leading over Bryce Bailey in the 12.
Well, you mentioned that Crum strategy. It worked for him at Franklin County. He did the same exact thing. He was running bad, he pitted, and he ended up making the next round of the playoffs because of that pit stop.
So Carson Lofton wins Bell Helmet stage number 1 in the 15 car over Bryce Bailey and Paulie Hartwig. Now this comes into play as well because not only do those 3 drivers, courtesy of Bell Helmets, get a little extra cash in their pockets, but there's also some championship points that go to the top 3 at the conclusion of Bell Helmet stage number 1. So Carson Lofton not battling for points, right? You got Bryce Bailey not battling for points, but this could work in Paulie Hartwig's favor as well with these points that he collects right there. So that's interesting to see Paulie Hartwig with a strong car finishing in 3rd. Every point matters.
Yeah, it absolutely does, Bob, and that's going to be huge for the team. Coming in with a 10-point buffer, so that's going to extend it a little bit more now.
So Hartwig having himself a good showing so far. 3rd, hoping to get back to victory lane, but he really wants to be in that championship equation as well. Joining Will and I in the booth here, Matthew Dillner of Flow Racing. I want to know what you think about this kid, Paulie Hartwig, just 14 years old.
Dirt car, an asphalt car, whatever he gets in. And right now he's primed in that spot here in the 3rd spot. Of course, the Smart 3 make it to the finale at North Wilkesboro. And Jake Crum, I'm expecting him to short pit here. That's his only play, Bob. What do you think?
Oh, that's what we were just talking about. Carson Lofton, though, in the 15. Let's get a report from him, from Derek Pernasiglio. Derek?
Thanks, Bob. Was just over in the Carson Lofton pit talking with the crew over here. Apparently, the radio communication has failed between the driver and the crew. Carson cannot hear the crew. He can hear them, so they're going to do it the old-fashioned way and shake off hand signals when it's time for him to come in and pit.
and he just tried to fake out the field, Derek. Looked like he was going to come down pit road, and then at the last minute turned back up the racetrack. Two of the championship competitors for sure on pit road, Ryan Newman and Luke Baldwin right now. Newman in that number 2 machine that you see in our Flow Racing camera shot. There he is. So it looks like they are going to take the right rear right now at this stage of the game. Derek?
Yeah, it's become pandemonium down on pit road right now. Max Handley, Slayton Myers, Joey Coulter, pretty much everybody coming in right now for adjustments on their race cars. Some drivers taking that new tire, but a lot of them are going to go with a tire swap and air pressure out there right now. Joey Coulter also taking a track bar adjustment on his car, while the rest of the crews are making air pressure adjustments. That brand new right rear tire going on Max Handley's car, the number 45. It's also going on Tom Buzzy's car as well, as we are seeing adjustments already being made this early in the race.
Thank you so much, Derek. Another one of the championship competitors on pit road as well. His car on the backstretch. A lot of cars, we have so many here. Some of them are pitted on the backstretch. One of them, Jake Crum in that 99. As we anticipated, he comes to the attention of his crew basically on the inside of turn number 4, where that Jamie Tomeno crew is. But Crum, this is his only shot. He was running back near that 20th spot. A big surprise to see him not running well here with how much experience he has.
And they knew that this was their only plan. This is going to work into their detriment in a little bit too, Big Bob, because I don't think they expected to see this many cars like Ryan Newman duck down pit road early here. There's 28 cars here. This isn't like the last time we were here where we had a big, giant, long green flag run, and it hosed everybody out there with tires that were wore out. But they knew this is their play to get that track position.
See, I'm not surprised with Ryan Newman based off of what happened in the most recent race here with that long green flag run. And I think they learned a lot. A lot of these drivers talking about how the tire does not wear here on this smooth surface. This place, paved just a few years ago, has tons of grip, but doesn't wear out tires. Ryan was telling me that when I talked to him prior to coming here this week when we had a chat, and he said, listen, you can pit early here and be okay at the end. So Baldwin, Crum, Newman, 3 of the championship competitors come in at the conclusion of Bell Helmet Stage 1.
Plus, this is one of those racetracks, talking to a few guys earlier, where you can baby your tires here by using the banking. This is a 3-groove racetrack where, you know, you're not going in there and just hurting the right rear off the corner every time. You can sail it off in there and let the banking catch you and not abuse that right rear.
By the way, that's a gorgeous shot.
That's gorgeous.
Wow. That is absolutely gorgeous. The Blue Ridge Mountains way back beyond that tree line right there. Let's go back to Derek.
Thanks a lot, Bob. And over in Ryan Newman's pit, had a chance to stop and talk with Randy Renfro, who's the crew chief. I asked, why were you guys down here for so long doing so many adjustments? He said that they loosened it up for qualifying. It turned out it was way too loose, so they came in to tighten it up a lot.
Well, they had to do what they needed to do for Ryan Newman, but he's like a bull in a closet, because he's always wrestling that wheel. And Ryan Newman, if anybody can get the job done handling an ill-handling race car, it is certainly Ryan Newman. You see some of the other cars coming down pit road. One of them is Jake Crum coming in for a second time during this controlled caution that we have here. So Crum now going to be exiting pit road. Newman back out in the racetrack, as is Baldwin. But these early pit stops, I don't think it's much of a surprise. But at the same time, if you're Paulie Hartwig, seeing everybody come down pit road, are the Hartwigs worried a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, because they will lose that track position when they come in. But several cars coming down there, seeing Landon Huffman as well, Carter McMurray, the 16 of Jonathan Cash. That was a wholesale pit stop that, based off like what you said, the big green flag run when we were here in the spring last year that you would expect. But being with this big 28 car field, I didn't expect them to come in at the stage break because restarts breed cautions, right? And this is a bunched up field. We saw that at the start of this race.
By the way, since 2000, Pace-O-Matic has assembled an incredibly talented team from top to bottom, built on the grounds of integrity, innovation, and compliance, all of which aligns perfectly with the world of motorsports. As an entertainment company that develops gaming software that players love to play, Pace-O-Matic is all about giving back to local communities, small businesses, and now motorsports. Check them out on all their social media outlets or at Pace-O-Matic.com. That's Pace-O-Matic, proud supporter of grassroots initiatives and proud presenting sponsor of the Smart Modified Tour. Back down to Derek.
Well, Bob, just a moment ago you referenced that Jake Crum came down pit road twice, which was actually once. Where they have Jake Crum pitted, he has to drive all the way down pit road, circle around the inner loop of the racetrack to get over to his pit, which is outside of turn 4. And then when he did his pit stop, he came back down pit road again. So it may have appeared that he came in twice, but it was actually one time.
Yeah, I caught that actually, Derek, before you even brought it up. I was hoping you didn't see that, honestly, because like you said, where he was pitted. But thank you very much for clarifying that. Jake Crum, no matter what, he gets his spot of where he was running on the racetrack, and Crum now going to be trying to battle back behind a lot of the guys that did pit with him, and now he's going to try to be coming to the front. What do you think, Will?
It's going to be an interesting strategy because you had about 10 cars or so that stayed out, and then the rest of the field pitting. So the guys that pitted are going to have to charge their way through against these guys that haven't pit yet. And then some of them didn't even shake the tire yet. They just kind of changed around the tire. So there's 3 different strategies going on right now. And I mean, with 28 cars, it's going to be a lot to keep up with.
Well, the car that pitted, the cutoff right here is 12th. You know, if you look at the field here. So, I mean, like I said, I don't think everybody expected that. I don't think those leaders, Bob, expected that.
No, they definitely did not expect that, but I think a lot of these teams had that plan. They saw what they needed to know last year here. They saw what they needed to know out of practice, and you think about it. Some really good teams like Luke Baldwin and Ryan Newman coming down pit road early. Newman did have that condition that Derek told us that needed to be changed a little bit, but at the same time, interesting strategy coming into play here. 30 laps down, coming back to the green, and it's Carson Lofton leading Bryce Bailey into turn number 1. Bailey on the outside. Here comes Paulie Hartwig, and Danny Bone is there as well in the number 25.
That was a great jump by Lofton. Make sure he got it out of the way, and now the real battle is going to be between Bailey and Hartwig to see if Hartwig can get around him and maybe set his sights on Lofton.
Would you see that wiggle by Bailey there coming off of turn number 2? That car not good on the outside groove right now, and Hartwig trying to take advantage of that. Good battle here between 2 rising stars in the modified circuit. Hartwig able to grab 2nd. Bailey now back to 3rd with Bone in 4th. Battles, though, a little bit further back in the field. A lot of side-by-side racing. 3 wide coming off the corner. Burt Myers right in the middle of that one. And the CitraSafe Crew Cleaners number 1. He's now to the outside of Joey Coulter, Newman, and Caden Lapsevich, who has not pitted yet, battling side-by-side as well.
Yeah, it's like a hornet's nest right now, Bob. You have the guys from the back trying to come up to the front, and the guys in the front fighting for their lives to try to not let those guys pass them, because who knows when the next time they're going to be able to pit is.
By the way, I have to give a shout out to Austin McDaniel. Yes, a lot of people pitted, but Austin McDaniel, the late model stock car competitor from around this area here in Hickory Motor Speedway, running in 6th. By the way, Bobby Meismer Jr., his crew chief here on that car. We know how good Bobby is behind the wheel of a modified. Here's Tommy Buzzy and Luke Baldwin. Baldwin trying to make his way back through the field is now almost up into the top 10, being scored 11th. So Lambros is in the 10th spot in that number 77. Let's go down to Derek.
Well, a moment ago, you guys were just talking about
There's Lambros on the outside. Some problems with Derek's microphone. We'll get back to him a little bit later on. Buzzy on the inside. Newman having gotten by a couple of cars already after that green flag.
Yeah, we've seen Newman. He's really working the high line here, just getting around these little bit slower cars that haven't taken the tires yet. And Luke Baldwin's trying to follow him, but Newman just has found something at that really top high groove on the track. He's running about the highest on the track right now throughout the whole entire field. Maybe Joey Coulter's running about the same as him.
Tommy Buzzy did not have a good qualifying run, but he's running well right now. Buzzy running in 10th, battling with Ryan Newman for that 9th spot. Buzzy last year in the 25 car that Danny Bone is behind the wheel of, Buzzy finished in 3rd, so Buzzy knows this racetrack, does well here, but he's got that bumper crunched in on the number 5 as well.
Look at Ryan Newman right now. Just look at the groove that he is choosing right now. We saw that at a Joey Coulter earlier in the race. He is sailing that thing off a lot higher than everybody right now. He is at the edge of that 3rd groove and making his car work, making hay through this field. He knows, Bob, what you said, maybe this thing does stretch out. And if so, he's the guy with the really good, feel-good tires on his race car that can make a charge.
And we were just talking about that, Newman's line around this racetrack. We didn't see him really do that in practice. He was in the middle or at the bottom. But now Newman, and I think the reason he's trying to do that, you punish your tires less by running that line as well. So Newman, he's a smart guy. He's got an engineering degree from Purdue University, right? He's also a wheelman, and he's showing it here today, saving his right side tires a little bit by going up that racetrack.
And it's really interesting because it's taken him about 5 to 6 laps or so to try to get around Buzzy, but they're running almost equal pace at the top and bottom of the track, so that's showing how equal both the top and bottom have been all race long.
And Newman can exude patience. Rewind off of turn number 2. Newman has to back out a little bit. Got squeezed by Burt Myers right there. That was a spotter's nightmare because Buzzy was on the inside. Lambros takes advantage of that. Will Lambros in the 77 now up to 9th.
Now Newman off to the bottom of the racetrack and gets by Myers for that spot. Here comes Luke Baldwin to the bottom as well. The freight train of those cars that pitted are coming to the front.
Yeah, but still some guys that have not pitted a little bit further up the field. Carter McMurray in the number 40, the 79 of Joey Braun. Burt Myers starting to slide back a little bit now. He's now outside the top 10 in that Citrus 8 Pinnacle number 1.
Yeah, and it's really just fascinating, Bob, with the amount of lines that we're seeing on this track right now. It's so wide. Like, the perfect example, here's Bryce Bailey, who's trying to run down Lofton and Hartwig. And, I mean, look at the gap that Lofton has on Hartwig right now. This could be experience from last weekend like you were talking about.
Well, I mean, you talk to Carson, you talk to Luke Baldwin, and they'll tell you, running a late model stock car here, totally different world than driving a modified. But you can still learn characteristics of where there's grip on that racetrack, and that's what's important. Paulie Hartwig didn't even see this place until yesterday. He actually watched a bunch of videos from Flow Racing, former races, to prepare himself, but that's the battle that Paulie Hartwig has had this entire season. Hartwig is a student of the game and mature well beyond his years.
Yeah, not very often that you see. Oh, we got a spinner.
Around. Tommy Buzzy goes around. Buzzy, second time today with 46 laps to go now. Buzzy in trouble once again. We saw him on the initial start of this race collect Brody Jones, and now some damage to the front end of that machine, maybe a little bit more for the Alpine Partners, number 5.
Yeah, and it looked like there was maybe a slight checkup on the bottom, and once again, that relay effect where the cars behind him couldn't slow up in time, and it looked he kind of got tagged.
Let's take a look. Watch for the 5, and you see Daniel Yates was right in front of him, kind of slowed up. Daniel Yates is on older tires.
Yep.
In the center of the corner, sometimes you can't get back on the gas, and maybe Buzzy could at that point. He got on the gas, Daniel Yates didn't, and the collision happened.
Yeah, when he got into the back of him, it just turned those front tires a little bit more, and that's kind of what caused him to lose control in between 3 and 4.
You know what's interesting about Tommy Buzzy? He's still, looking for this win in the Smart Modified Tour. His son Ben has been on a tear in quarter midgets and also in the dirt at Millbridge, and he's won over 30 races this year, has Ben. Congratulations, Ben.
That is great. That is a racing family. They show up to the racetrack as a family. They race as a family. They race at dirt tracks. They race at quarter midget tracks up in the Salisbury area. They have their rear end business. Buzzy's up there in Mooresville, and that's a family business. That is a racing family right there. But hey, Tom Buzzy Jr., step it up, man. Ben's got you.
That's right. He reminds them
Yes.
of that as well. You know, Tommy was telling me that a little bit here today. Carson Lofton, we missed him full time on the Smart Modified Tour this year, but very proud of what he's been able to do on the ZMAX Cars Tour as well, and the late model stock car side. Currently 7th in points, and he'll be there at North Wilkesboro, and he fakes out everybody behind him again. Looked like he was going to bring that Shady Grady Racing number 15 down pit road, decided not to, so he maintains that track position. But Carson, man, it's been a tough learning curve for him to go to a full fendered race car.
It has, Bob, but you know, one thing I want to keep in mind, we saw that 5-win season out of him last year, so you much expect him to come out of the gates in the Cars Tour and just be, you know, gangbusters out there. But this Cars Tour season reminds me of his first Smart season, where he didn't get in a lot of trouble, and he finished in the top 10, and that's what he's doing there right now.
We have several cars pitting right now. Let's get a report from Derek.
Yeah, action going on down on pit road right now. Jimmy Wallace taking on a new right rear tire. So is Jonathan Cash. Tommy Busby, who was part of that caution, is on pit road right now, getting service from the crew. Originally, the first hit was just cosmetic. I talked to his dad about the car being okay. Was it just cosmetic? They said that they had to pick up on the nose of the car because the car wasn't allowing, the nose wasn't allowing the car to settle all the way down onto the ground. Of course, you know they're trying to get these cars as low as possible, and when the bodywork's digging into the ground, it can't get the car to settle.
Burt Myers on pit road. Burt had been running up there near the top 5, had faded a little bit. Now comes to the attention of his team, and Burt Myers has just not had the season that we would have expected him to have. He struggled just a little bit, had a good run at the stadium this year with a bunch of wins, but if you look at where Burt is in the standings, nobody would have ever predicted at this stage of the game that Burt Myers would be 8th coming into this race.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it hasn't been a customary Burt Myers season, but they've gone back to a few things that used to work in these modifieds on the Smart Tour, and I think you saw that car wake up today in particular. And, you know, he still has the beach scheme on, hoping to bring a little sunshine back into the season, is the Walnut Cove, North Carolina driver. And speaking of sunshine, Bob, this is one of the most beautiful racetracks in the state of North Carolina. What Chad Higgins, his family has done to this racetrack here is just absolutely a footprint of what tracks should do. And we're seeing a beautiful sunset and 28 modifieds. This is an incredible night.
And sunset on Burt Myers' car as well, as you noted. Down to Derek.
Oh, the number 39 of Caden Lapsevich started on the pole. Looks like he's having a little trouble out there. The crew is over here trying to get the front end readjusted. They put a brand new right rear tire on the car. They're jacking up the left sides. Now they're going to do that tire swap. They also did a stagger change, and hopefully those are the changes that the number 39 of Caden Lapsevich needed to get back to the front.
So we'll see what Lapsevich does, but MD, you ask, and Flow Racing delivers.
Look
There
at
is
that.
the beautiful sunset, and if you stand tall, you can see the Appalachian or Blue Ridge Mountains beyond that tree line, but a gorgeous sunset
Off to the left of there,
here.
you see it really well.
Absolutely, and what's really great is this area is the foothills of North Carolina. There are the Blue Ridge Mountains, and Granite Falls is a beautiful area here. And we have Lake Hickory, Lake Rodas in this area. You've been out in Lake Hickory with me on our boat.
Hunting catfish.
45 minutes from the mountains, Boone, North Carolina. And just down the road is the famed Hickory Motor Speedway as well.
Yeah, and I got to hand it to, we just mentioned the Higgins family that owns this racetrack. And what they did when Western North Carolina needed them most. They're from Asheville, North Carolina, and they're connected to these mountains here. And what they did in opening their business to be a hub for supplies for Western North Carolina is something that they don't get the credit for. They weren't seeking the credit for, but we give them the credit for them, and we thank them for that.
Do you know why Granite Falls was named Granite Falls?
Was there a lot of granite?
There is, and it was because the waters that splashed over granite boulders near Gunpowder Creek. And Gunpowder Creek, another gorgeous area that is connected with Lake Hickory. There's the drone, by the way, brought to you by CitraSafe Grill Cleaners, as well as Carolina Drilling. A big thank you to Tommy Lancaster, CitraSafe Grill Cleaners, as well as Jason Tutterow of Carolina Drilling for providing that coverage here today. And beautiful pink colors of the sunset in Granite Falls, North Carolina. That's what we are experiencing here tonight during the Freeman Hoosier 99.
Yeah, you really couldn't ask for a more perfect October night for some smart modified racing, Bob. And I mean, the sky itself just pictures everything on how our season has gone so far, and we've got some great racing so far tonight too.
Trying to sort out the running order right now. David Hoots, race director, is working on that. You see Honey, there is Honey out on the racetrack. Chris Honeycutt bringing the CitraSafe Grill Cleaners Choose Cone out.
Best nickname ever. Best nickname ever.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, Carson Lofton, we talked about his front bumper, how it's bent. He's in the perfect spot right now. Okay, in a modified, you need to be out front if you got a bumper turned up like that.
And remember, you don't have to pit.
No, you don't.
You don't.
I don't think he's going to.
I know.
I think that's his play.
I'm wondering that as well.
And, I mean, it kind of makes sense because it's been seeming like it's kind of hard to pass so far this race because of how equal the inside and outside are. So if they can hold off on these old tires with not much tire wear, I mean, it makes sense.
And we want to invite you out to North Wilkesboro Speedway next Friday and Saturday. It's a triple header of sorts. 2 race car series with the ZMAX Cars Tour with the late model stock cars, as well as the Pro Late models, and also the Smart Modified Tour. It's going to be a blast. You can see it all online, live on Flow Racing, but you need to be here for sure at North Wilkesboro Speedway next Friday and Saturday. Coming back to the green, Lofton and Hartwig. Hartwig with a pretty good jump. Can he keep that momentum? He's going to have to go high. He does not. He tries to pin Lofton, but Hartwig, so smooth behind the wheel, grabs the lead in the Freeman Hoosier 99.
And that was a great move by the kid to be aggressive on the outside and pin him down. So Lofton didn't have that run off the top, and now we're going to see him try to just block because Lofton can't run into him with that messed up bumper.
Don't look down, but here comes Joey Coulter. Coulter is strong in the Gray Ghost 02. He's been running that outside groove, as we've noted during the Flow Racing broadcast, and now the 02 is up to third. He got knocked out of the playoffs a couple weeks ago at Franklin County. He wants the win here tonight.
And the best part about the line that Coulter's running right now, there's nobody in front of him running it, so it's open track for him.
Stop talking, Will. That is beautiful right there. There are the mountains that we were talking about, and a great shot from our CitraSafe Grill Cleaners, Carolina Drilling drone coverage. And there you see the distinctively different grooves, 3 of them around this 4/10 of a mile oval known as Tri-County Speedway.
What a beautiful picture that was.
And I'll tell you what, I'm watching the Hornet's Nest that's back near Ryan Newman right now. There was about 3-4 wide. It's hard to watch. There's like 20 battles on the racetrack right now, including this battle for the lead with Lofton all over the 73. This is an amazing race if you're sitting here in the grandstands and watching live on Flow Racing.
By the way, I want to remind you, you just saw some smoke down there. That's smoke from the burger stand. They sell a lot of burgers here. Nothing's wrong on the racetrack.
Oh, here comes Coulter, Bob. Here comes Joey Coulter on the outside.
Coulter, will he make it 3 wide for the lead here? Hartwig has the command right now. Lofton on the inside groove. Coulter going way high. There goes Coulter sliding up the racetrack. Hartwig does not know who to block right now. Lofton has led laps here. Can he get back to the front? Coulter might have something to say about it. The car in trouble is Hartwig, as the kid Carson Lofton back to the lead here with 39 to go.
This is a doozy of a race here in Granite Falls. 38 laps to go. Joey Coulter on the march, on the top side, to the outside of Paulie Hartwig right now for the 2nd spot.
We got to keep our eye on this battle as well. Hartwig is there. If he stays there, he's in the championship picture next week at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Jake Crum mired back in 13th right now. So Crum, heartbreak so far here tonight for that veteran race car driver.
Yeah, and Hartwig just needs to stay consistent. He doesn't need to really push an issue at all, as we kind of saw him give both spots to Lofton and Coulter. He's just going to run his race. and stay clean, plain and simple.
So it's Lofton over Coulter, Hartwig, Bone, and Newman. That's your top 5 here with 36 to go.
Remember, too, 27 cars still on the racetrack. So this is not over for Jake Crum. If something happens to a car like, say, the 73, that's a lot of cars, a lot of points on the racetrack right now.
You're absolutely right. We take a look at the battle on the right side of your screen. Here comes Ryan Newman battling his way back up to the front of the field. Newman running in 5th now. The 12 car he's battling with last time by scored in 6th. That's Bryce Bailey in that Paul French-owned machine. Will Lambros with a good run. By the way, Lambros last year in the springtime, Lambros finished in the top 10. The kid can wheel a race car. As I mentioned, he's run the 24 hours in Daytona. He's so good on the road course, and sometimes that translates to a track like Tri-County.
Yeah, and you're seeing Bryce Bailey really struggle coming out of the turns right now. Lambros dives underneath him. And with this pass, he put him in 6th, so he's right outside of the top 5, like you mentioned, having a fantastic run tonight.
Newman in 5th right now. We keep our eyes peeled to this battle between Lambros and Bailey, which is a battle no more. Lambros gets the spot, so Lambros in 6th, knocking Bailey back to 7th. And here comes Luke Baldwin, the defending series champion, the current point leader, marching his way back to the front. He finished 5th in this race last year. He's eager to get back to victory lane. Both the 2 and the 7, 3 wins apiece. Don't let them kid you. There's bragging rights right there. Both of them want to be the leader in wins, not only the champion this year.
Yeah, but Bob, the real problem is they have a lot of ground to catch up to the 2 leaders. Lofton and Coulter have ran away with this thing.
But at the same time, there's still just under 30 laps to go, and I can see the winds of change kind of sweeping through. Great job by our Flow Racing staff here on the left side of your screen. You see the top 2. The red and white 15 of Lofton in the lead. Joey Coulter reeling him in. And then on the right side, you see Ryan Newman loses a spot to Will Lambros. So Lambros now up to 5th. Newman back at 6th.
And Luke Baldwin's going to try to follow Lambros past Newman. Newman's just sticking to the outside. And it really looks like Luke's car is able to roll through that middle really well as he's able to get up to the middle of Newman's car, but Newman gets that run out of the corner. So it's kind of a chess match right now.
So as we watch these battles, MD, I'm going to ask you this. Do you have a feeling we're going to see a caution now with 25 laps to go at some point in the last 25?
You know, with 27 cars on the track, I don't see how we don't. But what's interesting to me is just watching the different handling on these race cars as the race progresses. Luke Baldwin seems to have really good drive off. Joey Coulter, right before we showed this battle, was actually starting to experiment with using the bottom groove for the first time this entire race. So cars right now, they're starting to fish around to see where their car works best.
By the way, shout out, Burt Myers just went by him, but Joey Braun having a good run inside the top 10 as well, now running at 9th with Austin McDaniel in 10th, the late model stock car kid having a good showing.
But how about Will Ambrose? We're not talking much about him tonight, but here's a kid that hasn't been in a modified.
Kids, we were just chatting about.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy hasn't been in a modified in quite some time. He actually has been working on a speedboat, building a speedboat. And he comes out here and he wasn't happy with the way his car was. He didn't test yesterday, and he's 5th tonight.
Incredible performance by Will Ambrose. We were hoping he would continue last year when he started off the season. Baldwin gets by Newman, and here comes Lambros now on Danny Bone. Bone hanging on in that 25 car. Lambros putting the pedal to the metal. Lambros up to 4th. By the way, you mentioned Lambros's, boat. Very fast boat, let's just call it that. Joey Coulter is there, right on the back bumper. Can Joey Coulter get alongside of Carson Lofton? Here they are in turns 3 and 4 with under 20 to go. Lambros up in the top 5, running well. Carson Lofton trying to hold off Joey Coulter. Coulter, he's going to make a go of it here. If he can get the run off the corner, that's the key right there to get alongside of the 15.
Yeah, and Bob, one thing they're going to have coming within the next 10 laps or so is the lap traffic. There's a lot of cars ahead of these 2 leaders, so it depends if they catch them and how well can you pass them when you catch them. And one thing I'm seeing is Coulter can run both the top and bottom. So right now, I think the favor is in Coulter's hands because of he can run everywhere on the track.
Joey Coulter alongside of Carson Lofton for the top spot. Fleming, a slower car, may come into play here. Lofton trying to go to groove number 2. Coulter in groove number 3, tight-quartered racing. Coulter hits the wall down the backstretch. Carson Lofton was trying to get around Fleming in the 13.
That was a pick, Bob. That was a pick in tight racing there and big contact from the 0-2, but hopefully he hit it square.
Hopefully no damage to that right front of that race car. So far, he still looks good, although we see a little wiggle right there. I don't know if you look at that right front, it might be a little bit towed in, and we got one going around. It's Jake Crum. Trouble for championship competitor Jake Crum around in turn number 2 to bring out the caution here as the sun begins to set with just 13 laps to go. Daniel Yates also going around in turn number 4 in the black number 18, but there is Jake Crum. Had his sights set on this race, hoping for good fortune here today, but Crum brings out the caution with 13 laps to go.
Wow, that could be the end of his championship run there, Bob.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting now because we saw spins on both sides of the track. So that's going to be interesting with that. But also, how much damage does Joey Coulter have? Because we saw sparks coming out of the back of the car after he hit the wall, and then he kind of was losing control a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see if they'd elect to pit here to not only assess the damage, but maybe change that tire now since they want to get a look at to see if there is any damage.
We'll see what shakes out here with a caution late in the going here. Joey Coulter having himself a good run, Derek.
He really is, and I just talked to Harold Hawley, his crew chief. I said, how is the car? He said, it's good. He said the 15 just ran him up into the fence on the back straightaway, banged up the right front. Said that he doesn't think that it's too bad. The car feels pretty good, but they also said that the car is much better on longer runs. So the longer they stay green, the faster Joey Coulter gets.
Interesting. What does that spell for the rest of this race? That's a question. Is a long run for them 20, 30 laps in, or would they consider that car gets better maybe 8, 9, 10 laps into the run? He's only got 13 to go in this one to go after the win. And Joey Coulter, a 41 race winless streak here in Smart.
Oh boy, he probably hates hearing that from you. But Joey Coulter is as hungry as anybody in this pit area right now for a win, and there's a lot of cars on pit road right now, including Ryan Newman, the 25 of Danny Bone as well.
Let's go back down to Derek.
Ryan Newman in the number 2 Progressive Hydraulics Shitty Coolers sponsored machine is coming in. They're putting a different tire on the right front. Not a brand new one, but a used one, as they're going to take that right front and then slide it back to the right rear. The right rear is going to come off completely.
What they're allowed to do after they take a tire, you can still take any tire from any corner and change the position of that tire, and it's all to get the desired stagger that you want. This is an oval track, so normally you have to have a bigger right rear tire than your left rear, and you know, that's what these teams are doing right now, like Ryan Newman, trying to figure out the desired stagger to get that car to Ryan's liking. Bryce Bailey has been up and down the running order here during this race, Derek.
Bryce Bailey is also on pit road right now, getting attention from the Paul French crew. They're going to swap those left side tires. They were also making a tie rod adjustment on the left front of the car, also trying to get the steering right for that young driver. Of course, Bryce Bailey has only run a couple of races for Paul French in this car. They started getting geared up for these last 2 Smart modified races by running some ROC modified races up at Chemung Speedway in New York, where they finished 2nd and 3rd.
ROC, good tour up at Thompson Speedway. And now you can see that team trying to get him back out there. Trouble with the impact wrench there on trying to change the tire positioning on that race car. So Bryce Bailey 3 poles this year. He's been awfully good in qualifying, but he's had some bum luck in some of these races.
Yeah, the guy has pure raw speed, he does. And it's cool to see him with that French group. I mean, those are hardcore racers right there. Right now, they're actually operating Evergreen Speedway in Pennsylvania. We used to go there when we go to Pocono. Really rustic speedway, but putting a lot of hard work, that family is, into that track. So they've taken a little backseat to some of their racing with that 12 car.
By the way, you mentioned Evergreen up there in Pennsylvania. Just got to give it a little shout out. We saw Jake Crum with some trouble. He brings out the caution. Well, his wife, Annabeth Crum, is going to make her first ever Tour Type modified start at Evergreen Speedway. It's either next week or the week after. I can't remember what it is. But she's actually going to run Evergreen, and then they're thinking about running the North-South Shootout at Caraway as well with Annabeth.
Could we see Annabeth Barnes in a smart modified? That would be entertaining, man. That girl's she's a gasser.
Mom was trying to get her to do it today during the Pace-O-Matic pit party. She said, I just don't know if I want to be on the same racetrack as my husband.
She's competitive.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, bummer to see Jake Crum out of that race car, Derek.
Yeah, Jake Crum just climbed out of the car, looks dejected. What happened? It looks like it was mechanical trouble.
Yeah, this thing's been a shit box all day, so we get what shit boxes get. We run in the back, but just huge thanks to Mount Airy Toyota. They've stuck behind me when they probably shouldn't have. We give our best shot. We just come up short. I think we got a hole in the radiator, but that wasn't going to make or break us tonight. Obviously, we weren't good all night. So,
multiple issues affecting Jake Crum here tonight at Tri-County Motor Speedway. He's dejected and walks away.
The emotion due to passion for success, and that's what Jake Crum was talking about. They were not happy with that car. I'm sure the Tomatoes weren't either. Jake Crum certainly not behind the wheel of that race car. But that team, it's been up and down for them this entire season. When they're good, they've been fast. But when they've been off, it's been a night like tonight.
Yeah, and you can feel the frustration in that pit area the last handful of races between the Tomatoes and the Crums and Eddie Harvey down there. They want to go fast, and they just haven't had it. And, you know, they had a good run at Franklin County, but that was due in much part to track position and pit stop strategy. So they're just not hitting on all 8 cylinders right now.
The CitraSafe Grill Cleaners Choose Cone out on the racetrack. You can see where your favorite drivers are going to choose for this restart, either inside or out, around this 12 degrees of banking in the corners. So we'll be going green here in just a moment.
So basically, fans at home, with Jake Crum out, that pretty much means the top 3 is locked for North Wilkesboro. Paulie Hartwig III can breathe a sigh of relief right now, knowing that he is poised to be in that 3rd spot for the championship.
And ironically, he's 3rd in this race right now.
Yes,
so does that change the mindset on young Paulie Hartwig, the 14-year-old in the orange number 73? Great conversations. Will Battershell, Matthew Dillner, Bob Dillner up in the booth, Derek Pernasiglio on pit road for Flow Racing here tonight. But we've been focused on the 02 car and the 15 battling for the top spot. But now I think a lot of eyes need to be peeled to that 2nd row. Paulie Hartwig, he's in, right?
Nothing to lose.
Let's go after the win. But Will Lambros is there to shake up things as well, and that car has been awfully quick in the 77.
And that was what I was going to bring up, Bob, is now Lambros is right there. He has the 2 leaders right in front of him. One little slip up from both of them, and he could be shooting up to the lead. So he's in that prime position right now for a shot at the win.
And Burt Myers has not won since the penultimate race of last year. Well, guess what? He's right there as well in that number 1 machine in the 5th spot.
Yeah, I know the 02 car right now. I'm wondering what his mindset is right now. You know, as a driver, are you upset with being squeezed in the wall by Carson Lofton? You know, it would be interesting to be in the mindset of Joey Coulter right now, or as his crew and spotter calmed him down. That is a fast race car that the 02, the Gray Ghost there on the outside has, and he's been making that outside groove work. But it's going to be interesting now with only a handful of laps to go. That car, like you said, was good on long runs.
Yeah, and Matt, well, like you were saying, maybe he uses that anger to his aggression, and he gets aggressive with Lofton, trying to force around him again. Because, I mean, we've seen how fast he has been around that top side. It's just, can he get to the outside enough to where he can't get squeezed?
Well, he's got the perfect positioning for this one because he's starting on the outside. Needs to have himself a good turns 1 and 2, and we'll see what he can do off of turn number 2 to try to take this lead. Carson Lofton still setting the pace in that 15 machine. Coulter, Hartwig, Lambros right behind the leader as we come back to the green with 13 to go. Oh, you see Lofton give Coulter a little right rear there going in the corner, but Coulter still there. Lofton trying to close the door. Hartwig and Lambros side by side for third with Burt Myers there as well. Coulter settles into second, and we got another yellow flag with a bunch of cars stuck up in between turns 3 and 4, including Ryan Newman, second in points. He's okay. He'll be there at Wilkesboro next week battling for a championship, but the night goes from okay to bad for Ryan Newman, involved in this one with Cody Norman in the number 12, as well as Austin McDaniel, and Max Hanley is the car that just drove away at the bottom left portion of your screen.
Yeah, and Bob, the good old saying of Rex breed Rex, and we're kind of seeing that right now.
Let's take a look at this. Let's watch around Newman, who's a little bit further back here to see where this one starts. And it looks like Danny Bone gets into the left rear of Cody Norman, and everybody just trying to check up there. And that's how Newman went around. A little bit of contact for the 45 of Max Hanley to the inside retaining wall. Let's go back down to Derek.
Well, the team has broken out the Sawzall on the number 2 of Ryan Newman, and the right side Nerf bar is pushed all the way back into the right rear tire. That was the cause of that tire smoke, and it's going to be a little too much to try to pound it out with a sledgehammer because it is twisted. So they brought out the Sawzalls, and now here comes the 10-pound sledge. So they're probably going to have to do some bar cutting to get this Nerf bar straight and away from the right rear tire.
So red flag condition now under way here at Tri-County Speedway as Austin McDaniel's car is still stopped in between turns 3 and 4. Ryan Newman being directed by smart officials not to touch that race car during red flag conditions. There is McDaniel's car. McDaniel, man, he's had himself a weekend with Bobby Meismer and trying to get accustomed to this race car. He said, man, it's a totally different world with 600 horsepower and 15-inch tires. We'll take a quick break here on Flow Racing and come back with the closing laps of the Freeman Hoosier 99 here at Tri-County Speedway. The red flag has been pulled. Austin McDaniel in the 97 car involved in this most recent incident. Looks like he's going to have a push to the pit area. A couple of cars still on the backstretch after all the cars pitted back there. A couple of cars still not moving. And they were Joey Coulter right there in second spot and Paulie Hartwig in the third spot in that orange number 73. So we'll see if those cars get refired. There they are. And sometimes cars have difficulty after a prolonged red flag period. We'll see if they get restarted here. Usually they try to roll up the banking and allow them to be able to roll down and get the car started manually as well. Let's go back down to Derek.
Well, you guys were touching on Austin McDaniel a few minutes ago, who was involved in that caution. This is his first race ever in the Smart Modified Tour. And if the car looks familiar, it's Brian Doza's Modified. Brian Doza and Austin are good friends. He called up Austin one day and said, hey, I've got this Modified in my shop. It's been sitting here for about a year. Why don't you go take it and go race it and see what you can do with it? So they took the car to Hickory last week just to shake it down and get some practice with it. Austin says he likes the car. It's a little twitchy than anything he's ever driven. Plus, he also has to get used to that big air cleaner in front of his face. But Austin McDaniel doing a fine job in the number 97 car for Brian Doza. On the other end of that, work is still continuing down in the number 2 pit of Ryan Newman. They are trying to pull the Nerf bar away from the body. They did do that, and it looks like they're going to keep part of the Nerf bar on the car. The team is over here actually with ratchet straps that have hooked it around the frame and are pulling the bar to try to get it away from the tire and get everything halfway straight, I guess you could say, so they can get Ryan back out there. But never seen this before where they use ratchet straps to try to keep the Nerf bar on the car.
Thank you so much, Derek. We're going to go to our Racing Electronics race communication. You see the 73 car has now actually gotten started. Paulie, you're on the backstretch there. Were you worried when that car didn't refire?
Yeah, just the battery's a little dead, but we're all right.
Paulie, now sitting where you are, it looks like you are for sure into the Championship 3 at Wilkesboro next week. Will you approach it any different here in the closing laps?
We can't really jinx it here. We had a really good car so far. It was a good idea knock the tire. The car hasn't really fell off, but it kind of is at the end because there's 99 more laps on the tire. But we're trying to keep them warm here, so hopefully we have a shot at this win, and hopefully we make the championship for next week.
Paulie, you're still clear, just circulating this racetrack. Got to ask you, as a 14-year-old kid, how excited are you to get to the Smart 3 Championship battle at Wilkesboro next Saturday?
Sure, it feels really good. Just hopefully we don't jinx it here, and we have a really good car for the win here.
I love Paulie Hartwig. Always has an answer. Not only is he a good racer, he's personable as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. That kid's got a boatload of personality. But now, check out this 2 car right now, coming in second in the points. And folks, like Derek said, a ratchet strap hooked up to the A and B post right there, holding that Nerf bar on the Shitty Coolers number 2 right now. That is some old school ingenuity right there. All my years modified racing, I haven't seen that one. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, Matt, that is definitely an interesting strategy, but hey, as long as it's on there, that's all you need, right?
Yeah.
We're going to go back to the Racing Electronics race communication. Burt Myers running very well. Burt, that car looks like it's on a rail. Do you have a shot at this one here in the closing laps?
I sure feel like we do, Bob. That first set of tires, the right rear took off on us, and the car just went terribly loose. And we missed the pit strategy there. I think if we'd have been the car that was the first car to pit at lap 30, we'd probably be leading this thing. But we're not done.
Well, Burt, good to see you running really well, and congratulations on that Pace-O-Matic Pole Award.
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, Burt Myers, who really has needed this really good run after a little bit of a rough season, has been able to really thrive. And as he's running in that 5th position, as he mentioned, he does have the shot. And this top 5 is really interesting because it's a lot of different players almost that we haven't seen for a lot of the year. We have Lambros up there at 4th. Go ahead, Bob.
We're going to talk to Joey Coulter in that 02 machine. Man, that right front looks like it's weebly wobbly, Joey. How is that race car right now?
Well, they get a little less stiff when they get bounced off the fence, but it's hard racing up here. Like, You know, neither one of us up here is going for points, so it's just about the trophy. But man, we can't say enough about the Rum Runner guys, and they put the tune on this thing. This is before the Wilkesboro test, and we came from behind a little bit earlier today in practice, but we got a really good gray ghost, and fun up here, racing up front for the win.
Joe, you're coming up to the Citrus Safe Choose cone off of turn number 4, but has that car been affected, and do you think you got a shot on the outside of Lofton?
Oh, well, whether we got a shot or not here, I'm going to tell you whether or not we're going to take it. Yeah, 0-2 to the top. Here we go.
Good luck, buddy. We wish you the best.
Thank you.
And Bob,
Gotta love being able to talk to these drivers right in the middle of battle. I mean, where do you get to do that? You don't get to do that in football. You don't get to do that in baseball. But here we got guys behind the wheel of a 600 horsepower missile just moments before they go back racing again, and we get a chance to talk to them live on Flow Racing. That's pretty cool.
yeah, and I just wanted to touch on Coulter real quick. He had a little bit of a rough start to the season, but these last couple of weeks, he's really been on fire, and he shows it again today, where he's been able to run that super high lane that nobody else has been able to, and that's what put him in the position to be on this outside row on this restart with only 13 laps to go.
Here we go. 13 laps to go in this one. Carson Lofton on the inside. The control car for this restart in the Pace-O-Matic restart zone, but Joey Coulter is there. The 15 fires. Can Coulter get alongside of him off of turn number 2? He's not going to be able to do it. Coulter just misplays that restart ever so slightly.
Yeah, and you saw Lofton, he kind of yanked the wheel to the left some coming off of 4 to get a better run on the restart.
Hartwig now to the bottom of Coulter. Battle for second. Burt Myers has gotten by Lambros for 4th. Burt told us on the Racing Electronics Race Communication he's got a good car. He's right on the back bumper of the 73 of Hartwig.
Here
Burt Myers
comes
to the
Burt.
bottom.
Here comes Burt Myers to the bottom, Bob. That car has woken up here in the late stages. On the bottom underneath Hartwig. Can he get a 2-for-1 here?
10 laps to go in this one. Burt Myers has got to get to second, and you would think he's got a hope for a caution. He's almost there. Coulter still with the momentum on the outside. Burt Myers inching out in front into second spot. The ace is there in the runner-up spot, but does he have enough time?
I don't know.
Problems.
Trouble.
Lofton problems. The leader of this race slows down, and there's a car. Fleming stopped off of turn number 2, and everybody gets bottlenecked. Jonathan Cash with damage stops. Luke Baldwin with damage on the S&S racing cars. It plagues both of them during this caution, 91 laps in.
So is that why the 15 slowed down? It looked like something like he was out of power there, but then Lofton slows down. It's like nobody else saw it behind him.
Cody Norman with damage on the left rear of that car, so we have confirmed that Lofton was slowing down because the spotter had notified him that there was problems off of turn number 2.
Wow, what a turn of events here. It looks like Carson Lofton will be your leader.
Yeah, Matt, it's really an interesting situation right now. We see a lot of damage on that 7 VA of Luke Baldwin, and I mean, that whole right front tire is just facing the wrong direction, and you never want to see that. The really interesting thing, Matt, is that Paulie Hartwig's really the only championship driver that hasn't had any trouble so far tonight.
Oh, look at that right there, the damage. Luke Baldwin, his night is over.
By the way, we're going to try to get a word with Carson Lofton, but remember, he has no communication with his team whatsoever. Let's go back down to Derek.
Oh, right now, Luke Baldwin is climbing out of the number 7 VA Pace-O-Matic machine. Does not look very happy about the situation that happened out there. The right front doubled back, pointed in the wrong direction. Suspension all ripped up. As Baldwin climbs out of the car, he's going to walk over and try to assess the damage. We're going to try to talk to him for a minute. So, Luke, from your point of view, can you tell us what happened out there?
Yeah, I mean, 2 cars are stopped on the outside of the 2 for a full lap, and we don't have a yellow out until I'm basically on the straightaway. I got cars in front of me. I can't see 2 cars stopped at the wall. 15's, something's happening to the 15 on the bottom. Everyone's checking up. And by the time I see those guys, I'm full wheel locked, brakes locked. I try to let off and get by it, but I can't see nothing. I just don't understand. Like, you got 2 cars stopped that obviously aren't going anywhere. Where's the caution? But it sucks. Like, I'm sorry to everybody involved. There's probably something I could have done better to avoid it, and I hate to sound like this, but it's just frustrating, like, this stuff's expensive, and when stuff keeps going down the drain, I know everyone thinks, Tommy Baldwin can do whatever he wants, but, it's frustrating. It sucks that something oversight like that just kills a hole right in front of a race car.
Well, unfortunately, you can hear the frustration in Luke Baldwin's voice. Of course, he is the point leader going into this and the defending champion. You can see Neil Cantor, Phil Stefanelli, and the rest of the SNS crew over there looking at the right front tire to assess the damage on the 7VA because they have to get this moved out of the pit lane.
A bad break for Luke Baldwin. He's certainly disappointed. Let's take a look at the replay of what we saw here. Going into turn number 1, you'll see Lofton. It appears as though he just lifts off the gas because there are cars that are stopped right there. Fleming and the 12 of Cody Norman, and Jonathan Cash just crashes in. But I want to talk about this a little bit because the interesting thing is Carson Lofton, as we noted earlier, does not have radio communication with his team. But what we don't know is if he's able to hear his spotter. So
I think he might
have heard his
Yep.
spotter, and his spotter called. Car stopped in turn number 2, and that's why he lifted off the throttle.
Very heads-up piece of driving by Lofton there, but I'll tell you, it looked like he was going to get run over.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that there's just a situation. Lofton, a little bit of heads up if he was able to hear his spotter, and Burt Myers was able to fly around him. The good thing is that most of the leaders were able to avoid it. Unfortunate for both the SSR cars, both of them collected in one wreck, and obviously we saw how displeased Luke was, and now they're out there trying to fix Bryce Bailey's car with the sledgehammer, trying to get that Nerf bar in the front down.
Look at French. He's got the big hammer swing. Look at that. That's a man with some experience right there.
Yeah, that Nerf bar is not moving at all, man.
If you want somebody to chop your wood in winter, you ask a French.
And now, the one thing I'm really interested in right now is Burt Myers is in second place, and he's going to restart on that outside. We saw how fast he was on that last restart, so it's going to be really interesting to see on the next one.
Let's go back to the Racing Electronics race communication. We got the spotter for Carson Lofton, Mike Adams. Mike, I want to ask you, were you able to tell Carson to slow down there to avoid that wreck? Is that what happened and why he slowed?
Oh, yeah, I saw it when he was entering 1 and there was no caution, so I told him to check up, go to the bottom, and they're trying to say that we brought out the caution, which is not true. But I would rather do that than tear up a race car.
10-4, we appreciate you clarifying for us. Great job on the spotting side. Mike Adams, spotter for Carson Lofton, just notified us that he did indeed see that caution, and that's why he had Carson Lofton. So the good thing is we know Carson can now hear him, but he can't speak to his team.
Well, there's some crews that wouldn't mind that. But Carson right now, there's no strategy being employed anyway. This guy is going to finish this race without coming down pit road, so.
Guess what?
What?
Burt Myers is now second.
Oh, boy. And Burt Myers is hungry.
Yes, he is.
This is not a Burt Myers season that we have been seeing in the Southern modified scene. Maybe at Bowman Gray, but not here on the Smart Modified Tour. And he is hungry.
Yeah, he had a handful of wins there in NASCAR modified competition at Bowman Gray. But as I mentioned earlier, you take a look at the results from last year. He won the penultimate race of the season 1 year since Burt Myers has gone to victory lane. They changed the setup on that race car like you noted, and now they're vying for another win.
Yeah, Burt Myers, leave it to Jamie and this whole crew. I think we're going to get a red flag here, Bob.
And that's because Luke Baldwin's car cannot move on pit road, and they have to clear that car for safety protocol to make sure that it is out of harm's way of other competitors coming down pit road.
Well, this will also be interesting. You talked to Paulie Hartwig III, the driver of the orange number 73 machine, who's in third place in points. And the last time we had this little bit of a red flag, small red flag, Hartwig had a hard time refiring that number 73. He said possibly a battery issue on that machine. So this will be interesting to see if he can refire once again.
Indeed, and you see the work going on right now on the 7VA for Sadler Stanley Racing and Luke Baldwin.
Yeah, and when this restart coming up, it's going to be really interesting, like y'all mentioned, with Burt Myers now on that outside row. And, I mean, he's been feisty, and he's probably really hungry for that smart modified win since he's been winless all season long. So, I mean, both guys are just racing for trophy right now. So you kind of are going to expect that it might just be they're just going for it all. And we might see all gloves off, and it's going to be a slugfest in these last 10 laps.
So while we sort things out here, we're going to take a quick break on Flow Racing and come back. 9 laps to go in the Freeman Hoosier 99 at Tri-County Speedway.
October 17th and 18th. The Cars Tour and the Smart Modified Tour head to North Wilkesboro Speedway. Three champions will be crowned. Be at the track or watch it live on Flow Racing.
Hey, this is Kyle Larson, and you're watching the best pavement, dirt, and drag racing, all live on Flow Racing. You have great racing on the track, you have great crowds. 400 race cars. 8
laps to go. Corner number 4 at the line. Brandon over. Just like a hot knife through butter around this quarter-mile oval. Here's a winner in Flow Racing North America.
We are back here live on Flow Racing, getting ready for the conclusion of the Freeman Hoosier 99 for the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic. One driver who has had a great run during this race is the 77 car of Will Lambros. Let's speak to him on the Racing Electronics Race Communication. Will Lambros, man, you've looked like you're in a rocket ship out there. What do you think of your chances here with still just under 10 laps to go?
Hey, Bob. I'm feeling pretty good right now. Bert has a pretty quick car. My car's really balanced, so I don't know. We're going to see how it plays out. We've been consistent all night. We've just been keeping to ourselves, rolling the bottom, keeping the nose clean. And I don't know. We're going to get ready to go green here and take it from there. Have to go.
Absolutely. I want to know one thing, though, Will. We were talking earlier, and you've done a lot of road racing, still continue to do so. You got that speedboat out there in Long Island, New York, and finished second in the Legends Car Road Racing Nationals a few weeks ago. But how good is it to be back behind the wheel of a modified?
Oh, I've missed it a ton. I've only got to run twice this year up at Stafford, so I'm super happy to be back down here with the Smart Tour for the last 2 races of the year.
Good luck, buddy. Burt Myers, let's get a report from Derek.
Well, ran over to the CitrusSafe Pinnacle sponsored #1 of Burt Myers, talked to the crew, asked them what made that car come alive so late in the race, and talked to the crew chief. The crew chief said they had a stagger problem in the first 30 laps of the race. The tire grew a lot bigger than it was supposed to, and he was fighting loose conditions throughout that whole run. So when they got into about lap 60, 65, they were able to come down pit road. They put a new right rear on the car. They got the stagger to where they wanted it because it was blown out way too far, and now that car has just come alive.
It has, Derek. Definitely good work by that team, and they're in contention now. Let's see what Burt Myers can do at the CitraSafe Choose Cone, who's the sponsor of his race car as well, by the way. And you get your CitraSafe grill cleaners. I use it all the time at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, and more. They even have these great scouring pads to help you clean the grill as well. But Burt Myers, the CitraSafe driver, alongside of Carson Lofton for this restart. The Loftons and the Myers battling once again here in the Smart Modified Tour. We are back to green here. Whoa, almost 3 wide there. Hartwig on the outside. Coulter was there. Lambros as well. Lofton grabs the lead. Burt Myers filing back into second. But look at Joey Braun and Lambros go at it. Kate Lapsevich 3 wide for position in the top 5.
3 wide there for the 5th spot. And boy, oh boy, is there a lot of battles on the field right now. 3 wide throughout the whole lap for Ambrose in the middle.
Are you kidding me? Look at the contact right there from Lambros to Lapsevich, and they all keep it under control. That is some driving talent right there. Lapsevich on the outside, much better than at Caraway, where he led the field to the green flag and finished 14th. Right now, hoping to finish in the top 5 here. If he gets this spot, he'll be up to 5th. But Joey Braun, just so good behind the wheel of that Hillbilly Motorsports 79 as well this year.
And don't look now, here comes Danny Bone, the winner the last time we were out in smart competition. He's got a tire and he's marching through the field.
We got 5 laps to go, 5 laps to settle the score. And these two have gone at it before as well. Hickory last year, they kind of swapped some, let's say, metal, if you will. Burt Myers now trying to get by a Lofton, not Brian, not the dad, but Carson Lofton here at Tri-County.
Side by side for the lead down the back straightaway. Burt Myers on the outside, doing it the hard way. He muscles his way down the front straightaway. The battle for the lead, Bob. 4 laps to go.
Burt Myers officially leads that lap. Burt Myers to the lead here in the Freeman Hoosier 99. Contact between both of those drivers. Lofton takes advantage and gets that lead back.
What a save by Burt Myers. What a save.
Wow. That is not like Carson Lofton drove up the racetrack, gave the little bump to Burt Myers, and now Myers several car lengths back with 1 lap to go. Burt Myers, can he catch him? If he did, there might be a little play of the bumper, but I don't know if he's going to have the opportunity. It's been more than a year since Carson Lofton has gone to victory lane, but he'll grab the checkers here today at Tri-County Speedway, the winner of the Freeman Hoosier 99.
Yeah, that's interesting, Bob, because it really looked like Lofton did anything he could to get that win today. And, I mean, a little bit of antics, moving Burt Myers up out of the groove and pushing him away. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here post-race.
Yeah, I want to see if Burt Myers talks to Carson Lofton. That'll be the big question for sure, to see what happens here, because Burt looked like he had a great race car. Lofton did everything that he could to grab the victory, and now he'll go into Wilkesboro next week back with the ZMAX Cars Tour as a winner again here in modified competition. And with that front bumper pushed up like it was from that initial start of the race and the contact he had with Danny Bone, he kept it out front the most of this race, and that's where he needed to not to have to battle and use the front of that race car. But he used the side of it.
Yeah, he did indeed use the side of it, which, I mean, when you don't have a front, I guess the sides work too. And, I mean, at the end of the day, they've still finished 1-2, so at least nobody wrecked. And, I mean, the saying is rubbing is racing, so.
Here comes Burt Myers, gives him a point. And clapping, I don't think that's a congratulatory clap as the crews start to jaw at each other down near victory lane. You see some of the Burt Myers crew, Jason Myers, trying to hold the team back. Who was it? Larry McReynolds that would always say 8 tires is better than 4. And Carson Lofton used that tonight to get to victory lane.
Yeah, we saw Lofton after that restart the whole time. He was loose in the turns every single time, and both times slid up into Burt when he had that run on the outside. So it could even be not intentional that he slid up into him.
And no matter whether it was intentional or not, you gotta say you understand Burt Myers and the passion that he has. He had a good car. He hasn't had the best cars all this year, thought that this was his shot. And by the way, Carson Lofton's dad, Brian Lofton, one of the drivers that was actually jawing with Burt Myers a little bit down there in Pace-O-Matic Victory Lane. You think you saw drama this week? Wait till next week when we settle the score with 3 different divisions vying for a championship at North Wilkesboro Speedway between the Smart Modified Tour powered by Pace-O-Matic and the Z-Max Car Store with the late model stock cars and pro late models.
And just a second ago, it really shows how much of a vet that Burt Myers is, as he was kind of pulling his guys away back to his car after they were all yelling at each other just to make sure no fight really does happen.
And by the way, you see Matthew Dillner with the red hat talking to Burt Myers when the passion is still there. And the pointing still going on a little bit. Jason Myers now getting into it a little bit. Tempers flaring near Victory Lane at Tri-County in the Smart Modified Tour. Let's go down to Derek Pernasiglio.
All right, now we're waiting for the official word to release Carson Lofton out of the number 15 machine as the Smart Modified officials come on in here with all the Pace-O-Matic signage. The Hoosier Freeman 99 trophy is also in place. And Carson Lofton has been told to climb on out. Here he is, folks. All right. Back from North Wilkesboro, back in the number 15, and back in Victory Lane again. Carson Lofton winning here at Tri-County, but talk about the contact in the last couple laps that happened between you and the one.
You know, it's just short track modified race, and I hate to rough him up for the win. I don't feel like I'd have done anything different that he wouldn't have done. I mean, we're just racing for the win. He had the better car, obviously, and it's my job to hold him off. And man, like I said, I hate to do it like that. I know he's probably mad, but we'll talk about it and we'll go on. So just super proud of this group. We've had a really fast race car all day, or I guess all weekend long. My dad came out of retirement today to shake it down in practice. So just like I say, super proud of this group. Can't thank everyone enough, and we're going to celebrate this one.
In the middle of the race when you had a strong, comfortable lead, did you find yourself in a safe spot, or did you start to get worried that these guys were going to start reeling you in?
Oh, I knew, like, I was kind of riding the first 50, and then a couple guys pitted early, and I didn't know what to do. I had no communication to them because my push-to-talk broke, so it's kind of up to me to make the call, and luckily I made the right call. I thought I messed up a few times because all those late race restarts, but just super thankful for this opportunity. We had a bad, fast race car and be able to hold them off for the win special.
Welcome back to Victory Lane.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Carson Lofton in the number 15 wins at Tri-County Motor Speedway. In just a moment, we're going to walk over and talk to Burt Myers.
Well, interesting, because if you heard Carson Lofton, he admitted that he actually took him up the racetrack. He said Burt Myers would have done the same thing to me. Burt Myers talking to his team near his race car, Derek Pernasiglio, moving over there to talk to him. Let's go back to Derek.
Well, we moved over to second place. Burt Myers, you hopped out of the car, obviously not happy out there. Carson said it was just some hard racing. You guys got together, but give us your take on it.
Well, he didn't run in that deep all night long until I was on the outside of him. He knew what he did. He can call it hard racing all he wants, and that's what it looks like to anybody that wasn't pulling for us. Anybody else sees he did a punk kid move, just like I had done to me at Ace, and here's another punk kid doing the same thing. I never touched him. I'm driving by him on the outside. He cleaned me out. I drive back to his outside again, and he cleaned me out again until he got me up into marble. So if that's what he's proud of and can hold his head up high and be happy that he drove over top of me for no reason, then so be it. But, hey, on a positive note, qualified on the pole. We missed the pit strategy. The car was terrible. And then we drove from 20th up to second and should have won the race tonight. So we got this thing on the rail, and we're looking forward to North Wilkesboro.
Burt Myers definitely had a fast car tonight. It came alive at the end. He's just a little bit dejected about how the finish came out. But, of course, the Loftons and the Myers, they've known each other for quite a long time right now. We're going to catch up with third place, Paulie Hartwig, the third. And you came into this race with a plan. You had to run up front to be able to lock yourself into the championship, and you did just that. How exciting of a moment is this for you?
Oh, man, this is a dream come true, you know. We came into this year with no expectations, we just went for the championship and win the Smart Modified Tour, and we did that. That was one goal, and we did that. And, you know, we had a really fast race car today. It's just, I think we made a good deal not taking the tires. So, I mean, it was getting a lot of free at the end there, but we held on for third, and we had a fourth place car there. But congrats to Carson and them guys. They had a really fast race car today.
With a handful of laps to go, what do you think that you could have done to try to reel those guys in?
I had nothing left, you know, even if I drove hard and I was kind of overdriving the car and I was kind of burning it up even more. But then I saw Carson run Bert up the track, which is racing, you know, if Bert had a tire. But, I mean, they really clean race. They shouldn't really be arguing, but I get how Bert's mad. But, you know, we had a really fast race car today. I thank God for getting me here, you know. Man, we're in the top 3 for the Smart Modified Tour. We're going to go get that championship at North Wilkesboro.
Well, guys, he's the leading contender for the Rookie of the Year, and now he's a contender for the championship in the Smart Modified Tour. Paulie Hartwig III comes home third, Bob.
And he gets a hug from Mom right there and a high five from Dad. The Hartwigs in the championship battle at North Wilkesboro next Saturday. And how about this? He's just 14 years old. That driver right there, Carson Lofton, he'll be going after more victories next week at North Wilkesboro. Let's take a look at how things shook down. Trouble right from the onset here. Some contact caused by a little contact from the pole sitter to the outside pole sitter. And then they got started once again. And then